What's up, TFT players? Welcome back to Celestial Tactician. Here we're going to dive deep into the main comp that I like playing, which is Portal Ryze. And I'm going to show you all the carries I can play throughout the game that are really good item holders that you can transition into Ryze. Or you can just do an AP flex with like Karma and all them. But the main objective is showing you guys what you guys can play throughout the early, mid, and late game. So if you guys find this video informational, please like, subscribe, and if you guys have any pointers to point out, write it down in the comments below. I'm always curious to see what you guys write down there, and I'm always trying to improve what I do. So yeah, let's get into it. So I'm going to show you all the carries right off the bat that I like using AP items for. So Nomsy, Hewlett, Ari, Zillion, who else? Bard, and that's really it for the early game. These are the units I like to play as items holder. Nomsy, if I get Nomsy, oh shoot, I didn't mean to do that. So Nomsy, I always like throwing, like slamming Ionic, or what you call it, Spear Sojin, Winsu's Rage Blade, and if I get very unlucky, I would like to throw Static Shiv, or if I get somewhat lucky, I throw on a Jewel Gauntlet. The main reason why I do this with Nomsy is because A, he has a single target ability that does insane amount of damage. B, he has AD and AP scaling, which AD is better than AP on him, but he still has some kind of AP scaling. C, you can always play like Twitch to make up for the AD and have the Hunter trait activated. And D, all around, he's a really good early game carrier. And the main reason why I like doing this with him is because A, the more times that you can build up mana with Spear Sojin, the better. That means you can cast more, do more damage, and focus down the main tanks and the main carries. B, every time he auto attacks, he gains 5 bonus mana. That's why I like throwing on Winsu's Rage Blade. And C, the main reason why I like throwing on Jewel Gauntlet or any other AP items, because he kind of scales with AP, not very much, but he still can do a decent job at holding them items. That's the main reason why I like slamming items onto him. That you don't have to do the exact build like that. You can throw a Spear Sojin, a blue buff, which I don't really recommend because he has a lot of, actually no, he doesn't have that much mana, never mind. Throw on a blue buff and like a Static Shiv. It's not really the best in slot items for like Ryze or any AP flex units, but it will definitely get you through most of the mid, or most of the early to mid game. Or if you get very unlucky and only have 2 bows, you can always throw on a red buff, which is good for all AP carries, believe it or not, because the more attack speed they have, the better they are at casting. And yeah, sometimes if I get very unlucky, I get nothing but AD items, I'll throw it on like this and just fully pivot to like another board. But yeah, that's one of the options you can do. And if you're ever gonna play Nomsy, always play it with Twitch, right? Twitch. For Hewlett, the main items that I like using on him is Spear Sojin, Rage Blade, and Archangel Staff. If I don't have Archangel Staff, blue buff. If I don't have blue buff, I'll sometimes throw on Static Shiv if I don't have Static Shiv for some reason. Death Cap. Red buff is also really good. Let's see what else. JG is also decent. I try to stay away from JG from any build, even though it's pretty good. I don't like it all that much. I'll also sometimes throw on a Giant Slayer if I have a random sword and bow, and I know I probably won't find a rod or anything like that to make them into decent items. And if you're ever gonna play Hewlett, I recommend always playing with Rumble, Warwick, Swain, Jace, and Zoe. And who else? Where's the last dude? Oh yeah. and what you call it, Galio. This is not like a for sure win board or anything like that, but this is just what a mid-game board looks like. Early game, you'll see Twitch, Nomsy, Zoe, Jace, or Twitch, Nomsy, Warwick, Rumble, or whoever else is a band. Blitzcrank you'll sometimes see in the early game. Like, this is what a early game board looks like. I want to move Warwick down here just so you guys can see it. This is what an early game boards look like. This is what a mid game boards look like. You'll add Twitch to the comp too, or Zillion, depending on which one you prefer. I normally prefer throwing in Zillion or Twitch if I get them. But yeah, if you don't get lucky with any of them, then you can always go down to Ari. I'll just throw these up here really quick. You can play Ari, Jace, Galio. So you always have 3 Portal. Then and that's kind of it. Those are the main people. You get lucky, you can probably throw in a Hecarim and a Shen. Or if you don't get lucky with the Shen, you can throw in like a Poppy, Lily up for the early game. It doesn't really matter all that much. Just as long as you can have some kind of Bastion. And Ari would be the item holder I would throw on. Practically all the items that I showed you on Hewlett, put onto her. But if I don't have a 2-star Ari and I have like a 2-star Zoe, I would probably throw the items onto Zoe and just buy a 1-star Zoe. So when I have to transition, I can do that with ease. Just sell the Zoe, throw in the Ryze. But that's just me. You guys make a sound decision. Each game it can change. So yeah. If you guys don't like playing this, the Ari early to mid game board, you can always play Zillion, which would be Zillion, Bard, Warwick, which I already have another Warwick, and then it would probably be like a Blitzcrank early game, and then that would be like, this would be an early game board. Let me just clear the board. It's too much cluster. So for the what you call it, Zillion one, it would be Bard, Zillion, Blitzcrank, Warwick for the early game board, and then as you transition into the mid game, it would probably be Rumble, Galio for 4, what you call it, Vanguard, and Zillion in the background. And then if you wanted to, you probably throw in like a Jax for Chrono, just so you guys can get an extra 20% health, like healing, and 20 more AP. And Zillion is actually a really good carry. You can easily 2-star him in the early game, but yeah. And this is kind of the same thing with Bard. The only difference is that you throw in a Zoe instead of the Jax. So this is the mid game board, like towards the like 3-5 board. You can easily throw in a Zoe, Zillion, Bard, throw the items onto Bard if you wanted to, which Bard is actually a really good carry also in the early to mid game. And if you get lucky with like the charms, you can throw on tacticians, like the what you call it, the Timo things. I can't think of the word. The dummies. You would always, when I play TFT and I have a dummy, I always put it right here, right in front of my carry. Because for say, if I have it up here and they killed the dummy right away, they would kill Galio, and then they would instantly focus my Bard. However, if I have it right here and then I put my units in front of it, they will most likely target my Galio, Warwick, and then Blitzcrank, and then target the dummy, which protects my backline units the most. I've had too many experiences when I just do something like this, and then they killed the dummy, they killed the Galio, and then the 3-star Jinx somehow makes it to my backline that's over here. So that's just a little tip I can show you guys. But yeah, this would be the mid game board. Early game board would just be the 3 units, the Warwick, Blitz, Zoe, Bard if you get an early game Bard. And if you don't get an early game Bard, then it'd be Zillion. It'll just be the opposite like that, you know? So yeah. And I can't remember the last, so that's all for the early to mid game. Your late game board usually is supposed to look like this. with 4, oh wait, no, that's the wrong units. With a full-on 8 portal. You never want to play 6 portal. You always want to try to get 8 portals in no matter what, because 8 portals is so much better than 6 portals. If you don't hit 6 portals, you might be you're stuck at top 4. Like, you might get top 5, but this is what your board looks like. And if you get lucky and you win streak most of your early game and you level up to level 10, you can always throw on like a Nami, put it in the corner of the enemy carry, because Nami will honestly auto build up her mana pool again, which creates the CC Leviathan thing, and she will stun the shit out of the ADC or whoever's the carry for them, which is what you want. So Ryze, who has like a Quincy Rage Blade, can build up the attack speed so he can add more portal to his like abilities. I always put Ryze on the enemy carry side because his portals have a chance to go and attack the enemy carry, and sometimes you'll see me put it up here just so he has a higher chance of hitting the back line. And yeah, if you guys don't get lucky with the Nami and you don't get lucky with the Nora and you just have 6 portals, what you guys can also do is transition to that. Get Milio Bard, and then you'll have 6 portal, 4 scholars. It's a little bit weaker, but it's still equally as good. And if you hit level 10, you can or level 9, you can easily throw in like a Diana or Bastion. Or if you don't hit Diana, you can always throw in like a Shen or CC. And if you don't look with that and you honestly don't get nothing, you can always throw in a Tom Kench or Vanguard and his CC. I always recommend putting like Tom Kench right by the Taric in the middle, because he has a higher chance of hitting the 80s, like the carry, and back and being right by the Taric. And he'll be most likely be able to live long enough to cast off his ult that way. I've had it too many times where I just throw it out on the end like this, and then he gets focused down, he gets one-shotted, and he gets close to ulting, but he doesn't quite make it there. And yeah. And if you guys don't get Tom Kench, you have to get very unlucky. You guys can always throw in like a Briar, give her the snacks, give her some AD items if you guys have extra items on the side. And if you don't get lucky with that, you sell. You throw in a Nasus, 2 shapeshifters. Nasus is still really strong and stuff, and you will most likely win some of your games playing Nasus. So, and if you can't find a Nasus, you play like a Swain. You just keep on going down the line until you can find the units that you need. And if you get really unlucky with that, you sell. You play. Can't even, let me think. You can play. Let me think. I think I covered all the comps really. I mean, you can always play like a Nico, Mordekaiser. Vex. But that's only if you, I mean, you can play Vex and get rid of the 4 scholars. You can throw in a Nami, and that could be your board. I mean, I know it feels bad not to have the 4 scholar, but it's still a solid board in my opinion. I think I covered most of the comps that you can play with this board. Now I'm going to teach you guys the itemization for the boards. I'm going to do it based off the portal board. So you have 8 portal like this. You always want to put the Yuumi on the Taric, because Taric's going to be your main tank, and if you can prolong his HP, that will provide you enough time for Ryze to consistently cast and one-shot the entire team, like enemy team. So who? Oh, I'm missing Israel. There we go. So for Ryze, you always want Quincy Rage Blade. I'm gonna make 3 versions of Ryze, so I can show you guys different boards or different itemization for Ryze. Israel, you never want to itemize ever. So Quincy Rage Blade, it's Spear Sojin. You can play Death Cap with that. That's pretty solid. If you don't get lucky and you only get like a static shift, Rage Blade, and you get like nothing but bows, you can actually do this. Not really strong, but it will do decent amount of damage, in my opinion, from my experience. Like, it's still pretty solid, but it's not as good as having Guinsoo's Rage Blade, Spear Sojin, Death Cap. You get somewhat unlucky and you get half slam and Archangel Staff. The other items I recommend having on the side is having that Giant Slayer, because once you get to the mid to late game, you're gonna have a lot of enemy tanks with a bunch of HP. I've encountered many tanks with 1700 HP, and Ryze just shred them through it with Giant Slayer. Like I said, it's not really best in slot, but it's still pretty solid. And then you can probably slam down a Gnasher's Tooth. These are just example comps, like example item slams. It's not gonna, like I said, they're not very solid. I mean, these two aren't very solid. I mean, they'll still win you some fights, but you might just top for it. So if you don't hit Ryze carry, if you don't hit the Ryze like you need them to, you can always play Nora and Yuumi. I recommend, if you're gonna do that, try to push level 9 so you can get Mage in it. But if you don't, in my opinion, the best itemization for him is to do nothing but high AP damage. So if you get Spear Sojin, Death Cap, Archangel Staff, you probably win most of your fights in the late game. If you don't get lucky with them and you get like nothing but shitty items, or no, I shouldn't say shitty items, but you get nothing but decently mid items like this. Let me see what the last one at. You'll probably get like top 3 if you get a 2-star Nora and Yuumi, and your entire board is 2-star, and you have it's a decent lobby. It's not like a high roll lobby, and you position your Nomsy correctly, you position your Ryze correctly. Like, you will probably top 2 or top 3 it. Like I said, that's only if it's not like a high roll. I'm not gonna do a third one, so I'm not too sure what a third item combo would be, but yeah, I'm gonna now show you guys what a fully optimized Taric looks like. This is what I always build on Taric if I can. That's one of the things that you can build on him. Get a few more, or you can just do with the basic Gargoyle, Protector's Vow, Warmogs, if I can find it. There you go. The items I don't recommend ever is build is Evershroud, and the only reason why is because a lot of your damage is AP. You have really no AD item, like AD on the board, so if you can, try to just, like, if you can build like Static Spark or Ionic Spark, and then yeah. Let's see what other items you can build. You can build Warmogs again with this, and this is actually a decent idle combo. And yeah, these are just different ways that you can build the units, so you're not trying to hard force a best in slot items, and then you get like bot 4 because you didn't slam anything, and because you're like, oh man, I didn't want to slam anything because it wasn't best in slot. But these items that I'm showing you guys here today are actually pretty decent. I mean, hell, if you don't get a 2-star Nora and Yuumi, you get like a Nami, you can always prioritize her. This is kind of a decent item combination for Nami, and I would recommend you building that. Or instead of like a static, you can always throw like Rinse Rage Blade, but still. And yeah, if you guys get very lucky at the late game and you guys really want to know what's a 100% win rate board is, you get a 3-star Ryze, 3-star Nami, and a 3-star Nora and Yuumi with a 3-star Eric. It might cost you 204 gold, or 180 gold, but it's worth it. And if you really want to seal in the deal, you get a 4-star Galio. Wait, what? a 3-star Galio, 3-star Cassidon, 3-star Jace. It's full on 3-star board, alright? This is a fully optimized board. This will get you 100% win rate every game if you can hit it. So, yeah, jokes aside, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, like, comment, and subscribe, please. And if you guys have any questions about where you guys are supposed to position the Ryze and like different things like that, I know I didn't cover it yet. I mean, I covered a little bit on where you position Ryze. I always put him on the enemy carry just so he can throw his portals on the side. But yeah, if you guys found this very helpful, like I said, like, comment, subscribe. If you guys want more, stay tuned. I'm gonna try to post 2 times a day. One time for my ranked, unranked to challenger climb videos. Then I'm gonna put like a more informational type format as my secondary videos. I teach you guys different comps, how to play them and stuff. And by the way, this comp runs off of a standard level 8, just a standard level 8 board, and you don't have to do like anything crazy like a fast 9. I mean, you can, but most of the time it's not really worth it. But yeah, that's enough of that. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, just let me know down below. And peace.